G'day guys, Mackie with the Earth Circle. This is going to be a short, sharp, simple little video. A little bit ranty, I guess. We'll see how it plays out. This is all just ad-libbed. First things first, was at the Anzac Cup event for Horus Heresy on the weekend. Well, actually it was an event for many things, but I participated in the Horus Heresy part of it. Fantastic. Had a great time there, great games. In fact, every person I played, well designed, well built, fully painted armies throughout. Even if you could tell they weren't finished, they were all at a minimum of a tabletop standard, which was just fantastic to see. On top of that, no one had what I'd call like a cheese dick, no cheese fest, no lists that you just looked at and you went, I don't ever want to see it or touch it, anything like that. No. The hardest lists there were the 2 Custodes lists, and they were not hard lists as far as Custodes go. In fact, they were pretty damn well balanced, and the guys doing them weren't trying to go for ultimate kill fest. They were just playing with what they wanted to use. So Stefan and Rappo, you guys knocked it out of the park with the Custodes armies. So for all the shit we hang on them, good job there, guys. Another little thing, it was great to see a bunch of different subs that I'd never met before. Hadn't met me either. And they're like, oh, you're Macca from the Outer Circle. And they're like, you're nothing like we imagined. Some were like, oh, we've heard you for ages. Most were like, hey man, you're actually, not too bad a guy in real life. And it's like, oh, thanks guys. Yeah. Anyway, moving on, we will talk more about that. Like myself, Kat, different people that attend the event. We will talk through it in depth later on in episodes over the next week or two. Now, before I went away, I did a quick little video where I talked about the hype, addiction, Games Workshop's release cycle, that kind of thing. And I pointed out, one of my predictions was a second wave of releases would come this weekend, and hey, second wave of releases. I don't think anyone's shocked by it, but I thought I'd still point it out. I still think we've got at least 2 more waves of releases to go before the Sea Boys, Sea Elves, what do we want to call them? The Adonath Deepkin, I believe it is. Yeah, we got another week at least of their releases. 2 weeks more. Then maybe a final week for any leftover shit, but I don't think we'll hear too much about them for a little while after that. Certainly not the hype we got over the last month. And for the people who are like, oh, they're supposed to hype up the game. Yeah, they are. I said that in the video. There's nothing wrong with it. I was just pointing it out. Fucking weirdos. Alright. On to the serious stuff now, and if not, the ranty stuff. Forge World are out of production sales for the Elysian drop troops. Well, they're not sales. Some of the stuff's actually gone up in cost. Elysian drop troops and some of the Solar Auxilia range. This is... I did a video recently. Again, I keep talking about videos I've already done, but the reason I pointed out is because if I've covered a topic, I don't want to have to cover it too many times afterwards. But basically, I did a video where I'm like, we get good support from recasters, that kind of thing. That's why so many hobbyists are going with recast route now. And I spoke to probably about 70 different people at the event I was at. There's like 130 people there, so I got around as much as I could between my games, having beers on Saturday night, sitting around with the boys, that kind of thing. Spoke with a lot of 8th Ed players, and I just asked them questions. I just probed a little bit, like, what would you fix about 8th? What would you fix about 7th? What did you like about this? What do you like about... to see what people come up with, because everyone's got their own ideas, right? And, when it came to recasts, everyone was like, oh man, there's X model. Like, everyone had just a model, and it was always something different of what they wanted to see come back in the Forge World website. Like, oh man, I wish I could, buy this model, but like, the only guys I can get it off are like recasts, or I can buy it for an exorbitant cost second hand. For example, like Tyranid Spore Chimneys are one of the ones that came up. The little bunker complexes, bits of Anphelion base, the old Imperial fortification wall terrain, where it formed like this big fortress, all that kind of... This is all different things that came up from people. On top of that, a lot of people hated what's been happening, as I said, in the recast video and in the limited edition videos with things like Delgatus and the Praevium. Pretty much everyone's response was, other games, like I think Infinity was mentioned, which is not a game I'm too familiar with, by the way. They said they release a character and then they release an alternate sculpt for it. So it doesn't matter if you don't get the alternate sculpt, you can still use said character. Now, when it comes to Games Workshop's games, people are just like, oh, if you can't get a hold of a character, just kit bash one and don't complain. Which is not my favourite mindset, we'll just say. But yeah, everyone's sort of consensus was, you shouldn't be putting characters up. I mean, this is Australians, so obviously we've got a big chip on our shoulder already. Shouldn't be putting these characters up if they don't have an equivalent, like no librarians, no Primus Medicaes in Terminator armor, no librarians in Terminator, that kind of thing, that made for 30k. Heaps of consoles lacking, heaps of like infantry, troops, characters, that kind of thing. A lot of people pointed out, and they're like, I want to work on like Derek, one of our subs. He's working on Raven Guard. Has a lovely little Raven Guard army he's been working on. Like I say, I do take notice of what the subs post on our page. I'm not aloof, I'm not better than anyone. I read what people put on our page. And he's like, I don't have any characters for my Raven Guard, except for Corax. And he's fucking right, they don't. And yet we're constantly getting like new vehicles, new this, new that. And it's like, why don't you just get the essentials done, before you go into like alternate characters and random factions and characters for, things that don't even exist yet. Like, do we need a Dawn of War, Terminator Blooded Ravens Captain Gabriel Angelos, who looks like Abraham Simpson from World War II? No, we don't. Probably could have used Strike Captain Elvirax Morn for the Raven Guard, though. Anyway, this is where the problems come in, because all of a sudden, Forge World's getting rid of all these models, and they gave this really weak-ass excuse. I don't know if I'll be able to find the image for it when I actually go and edit this video together. If I do, it'll be on screen now. But basically, their response was, we can't keep all products in stock forever. We only have limited room or some shit. So to make way for new products in the range, we have to get rid of old ones. It's like, you keep heaps of shit in production that nobody wants, or not that many people could want, I can't know. I'm making an assumption there, I suppose, which probably reflects bad on me, but there are plenty of things I'm sure people don't buy in bulk. I can't imagine that like Mark V power armor sells super well, or Red Scorpion's upgrade kits. They probably don't sell super well, being that they're only a Forge World chapter, and most people who collect Forge World miniatures now are collecting Heresy. But maybe they sell well. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. I'm just making assumptions, like I said. So that guy who'll be down in the comments going, you got no fucking idea. I have 8,000 points of risk. Yeah, shut up. Yeah, there's these armies, and they're like, oh, is it like there's limited space, right? There's a bunch of bookshelves in the Forge World warehouse where they make the resin. And they're full of all the molds. They need to make something. They pull the mold off the shelf and they set to work. And they get to the end of the shelf and they're like, oh, we filled the shelf up. What do? Do we buy another shelf? Nah, fuck that. Let's just throw out what we've already made. And it's like, well, yeah, of course you're going to be wasting resources and things like that if you keep throwing away all your fucking molds. What happens to the masters? Do you at least keep the masters around that the molds were made from? I don't know. The whole thing seems problematic to me. It's a pretty fucking terrible response that, oh yeah, we need to make way for new products. It's like, come on guys, there's got to be stuff that isn't selling. I mean, this is the entire Lycian range, basically. So it's like, you ever want to make like those deep striking Imperial Guard guys, who are you going to go to? You're going to go to a recaster, or are you going to go to a third party supplier like Cromlech or Anvil Industries, something like that? Like, let's take a look around just quickly. Age of Sigmar. Alright. Chaos. What have we got here? Sell the Faithless and Nightmare. How many of those do you reckon they sell each year? Greater Demons? Well, they're probably not selling too many of that Water Change, Bloodthirster, or Great Unclean one now. They've got plastic kits. They might be. I don't know. I should click View All. Plague Toads, yeah, they make a good Beast of Nurgle, but those other Beasts of Nurgle with the sea anemones for heads have come along, so yeah. Bile Troggoths, Plague Ogres. Yeah, they might sell. I can't imagine the numbers are super great, though. The Alternate Herald and Damn Prince of Khorne. Again, I think a lot of people are just going to go for the plastic GW kits. What about something else? Let's go Moonclan Grots. So, this is your old, what is it? Cave Goblins, Night Goblins, that's it. Night Goblin command set, that kind of thing. Yeah, might sell. Might sell. Colossal Squig, might sell. I certainly have never seen one in play, or a Squig Gobber in play. I think they're cool. I definitely don't think it's like a bad thing that these exist, these kits. Orc command set, again, never seen one in play. What else? Let's go Free Peoples. What have Free Peoples got? Elspeth von Draken on Carmine Dragon, never seen it in play. Empire command set, never seen it. Leopold the Black, never seen him in use. Manon's Blades I have, the Ironsides I have, and Manon Blades Command I have. And also Pizarro's Lost Legions dudes, or whatever they were. Alright. Obviously I'm just like going through like random shit right now. Duaradan, regular dwarves. I have seen the command set in play, but they can't be selling that much now since the dwarf line is... It's not discontinued, but it's been partially discontinued because Caradon Overlords and the... what are the other ones? Fire Slayers, I'll say. They're the big push for dwarves now. So obviously these guys... Oh, and the fact that they no longer make Dwarf Slayers at Games Workshop, to my knowledge, means you're probably not selling too many of these. In fact, I'll just double check that quickly. They might be under something else, like Slayers. Fire Slayers. Well, they make these Slayers, which are obviously different to the old Slayers. Are they on 32mm bases? They are. These are big dwarves then. They're on 32mm bases. They're a lot bigger than the old Slayers, and you will not rank them up. So, obviously, unless you already have Dwarf Slayers from the old Warhammer Fantasy Battles floating around, this Slayer is probably not going to do too much for you. He's definitely designed with that old aesthetic in mind, so are these guys. So again, they're probably not going to sell super well. They might. I could be completely and utterly mistaken. You know, it's the way these things go. What about Necrons? Necrons aren't that popular in the meta. Everyone's complaining about the monolith, is the big takeaway I had from the ITC tournament that was running at the same venue I was at on the weekend. Yeah, I don't see any of this. I mean, the Canoptek Sentinel and the Canoptek Tombstalker, they probably sell alright. I can't imagine anything else is selling super well, though. I mean, people think Forge World's expensive already. I can't imagine too many people going and buying the Necron Tomb Citadel, apart from, like, something to put their armies on parade entries on. Yeah, look, so this stuff here, all going out of production. Oh, sorry, not going out of production, but this stuff here is. And this is interesting. This is a range that was started, what, 2.5, 3 years ago, something like that. When was Book 4? Book 4 would have been 2014, mid-2014, or late 2014. So 4 years. 4 years this range has been around for. The decals are not very old for the range, and they're a good decal sheet. They're sold out. Rapier, sold out. Quad Mortar, temporarily out of stock, but sold out. Tank Crews. They released new tanks for the Solar Auxilia the same day they're taking these tank crews out of production. Who the fuck is running your website, Forge World? Why would you release tanks and the same day remove the crew from sale? Unless you've got a replacement for those crew, keep them in production. You're not hurting anyone. Fuck me. Their character series, one of the only character models they've got. In fact, I'm going to maybe buy one, because I'm trying to start a Solar Auxilia army myself now, and this is just like, fuck you to me. So Looks like I'm going to be going to China for some of this stuff since it's out of stock, no longer available. Also, how the fuck do you have to say, oh, we're no longer stock a transfer sheet? They've got rid of transfers for a lot of legions so far. World Eaters have got a different one now. Sons of Horus have a different one now. Emperor's Children had one, it's gone. Death Guard have a different transfer sheet now. Iron Hands have a different one. Dark Angels is gone. Blood Angels is gone. Replaced by a new one again. Carcharodons is gone. Fucking heaps of decal sheets are going. How hard is it to save the picture as like a JPEG or something on your computer, or make it a free download to people and then allow them to print them out whenever they need it? Just upload the symbols for free, Forge World. If you don't want to stock it, if it's so hard to stock it, just upload the artwork to people, you know, so they can, or let them purchase as a digital download or something, the way you let them purchase rulebooks, a copy of the artwork so they can print it out onto their own decal sheets. Because, like, there is no reason this should be out of stock. You can open up the computer anytime, hit the print button on a sheet of decal paper, and it will spit this transfer out. Why is it going out of production? If it's to make room for a new one to come in, that's fine. How about you wait until the new one comes in? If the army swaps out their rifles, they don't throw all their rifles away and sit around on their ass for a year or two waiting for the new ones to rock up. They keep the rifles they've got. It's like every company. Imagine if a business was like, oh, we're going to update all the computers in our business, so everyone throw away your old computers today. And then in like 3 or 4 months, maybe you'll get a new set of computers. No, that would be chaos. But because you're Forge World and because people cut Games Workshop so much fucking slack, you're going to get away with it. So this is why China exists. And now some people might say, oh, it's because China exists that these are going out of production, because they've just made it so uncompetitive for Forge World. Well, if that's the instance, first, you got to do something about that competitiveness. If China can so easily fuck your business model, that reflects more on you than China. Second, how the fuck come it's only part of the range, if that was the reason? Shouldn't it be the whole range? Like a Dracosun tank, for example. So I'll just go to the Solar Auxilia themselves. Let's see. We're in Horus Heresy. Solar Auxilia. Alright, so this is the tank. The Aurochs Armoured Transport, by the way. Released the same day. The tank crews, the man, the gun on top, go out of production. Great work, Games Workshop / Forge World. So this Dracosun, £83 from the UK. So about $140 Australian or so. I can buy the same tank for $69 US on some sites, even as low as $65 US on others, which will cost me about 70, 75 at most Australian dollars. So half price. That's not going out of production. I can also buy every single miniature in this range in some capacity from a recaster. Also, the recasters aren't telling me that things like the termites are out of stock. They're taking orders for them at the moment. A lot of your super heavy tanks, like Macarius Omega, things like that, which are no longer on your web store, yeah, recasters have those too. So, here's the thing. People are now like, do I buy a Forge World and buy an army, and then within 4 years, they're going to stop making models for it? And decal sheets and shit like that? Like, fuck. Or are they going to go, well, you know what? It doesn't matter if Forge World makes an army and it goes out in 4 years, because China's going to stock it for me. So I'll just sit on my ass and save my pennies up and wait till I'm ready to purchase that army instead of trying to snap it up now. Yeah, I just think it's piss poor performance. Really piss poor performance from Forge World. Like if I go to 40k and I go something like Astra Militarum, and then I type in like Lords of War, let's see. You got Macarius Vanquisher, Macarius Vulcan. Whatever happened to the Macarius with the giant plasma, the Macarius Omega? Oh, that's just gone? Okay. Oh, they got Veldor there. That's pretty handy. What about all the Macarius variants? Well, luckily enough, two of them, the Defender, I think, and the Macarius Battle Tank are both floating around in the Solar Auxiliars. Let's have a look. And Annihilator. Defender, Battle Cannon, and Annihilator are floating around in the Solar Auxilia, which is nice. What else have we got here? Well, there's no other Baneblade variants floating around apart from the Arcurian. And that's because Games Workshop makes the plastic kit now, so we don't want to contest with each other, do we? Crassus Praetor, that's pretty good. What about Astra Militarum heavy supports? So they got the Earthshaker and the Medusa carriages, but they don't have the platforms. There used to be a platform variant of these battle cannons where they sat on like a little cross-shaped thing, like a German 88. Yeah, they're gone, which is a shame because I really wanted some. What else have we got here? Anyone remember the Conqueror? It was a Leman Russ, but without a turret, and instead it had like a battle cannon or demolisher cannon in the hull. And it was meant to be like a Stug, like a Stug. Oh, there it is. Holy shit, it's back. The Thunderer. Thunderer. I apologise. I apologise profusely, Forge World. I thought it was out of production because for ages it wasn't on the web store. I profusely apologise. What else? What about these Saber defense platforms? They still got those? No, they do not. Apparently Space Wolves repulsor doors are a part of the Astra Militarum heavy support range. Okay, sure. So, no Saber defense platforms. They were like the little las cannon or heavy stubber auto cannon, something like that combination. They were like your 50 caliber anti-air guns, you know, and there was a single Cadian troop who stood on like a ring-shaped platform. Reference the picture on screen right now. You're probably seeing of that and a Medusa battery or something. Yes, they're not here anymore. It's a little shit like that, you know, like some stuff stays in production, some doesn't. I don't know where their head's at, but it's a real shame. Like, try and build a faction and then they just randomly fucking pick shit to stop supplying, and especially the decals. There is no excuse to stop with the decals. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. Look, I've had my moan and gripe. There's plenty of other content, plenty of happy content, positive content, you know, talk about the weekend and that kind of thing, to come out in the next few days and weeks, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. Strike while the iron is hot, as it were. Releasing a tank on the same day you discontinue the crew to go in is just, fucking hell. Someone is injecting heroin or something at Games Workshop / Forge World, surely, to come up with that brainiac of an idea. Again, I'm not opposed to, like, removing things from stock if, you know, like decals, something like that. If you're going to replace it, that's fine. But you don't remove it until you replace it. You know, it goes out of production, and then that same day you say, this is now in production. Great. Love your form. Fully with you. And especially the character series. Like, you can't afford to keep a Solar Auxilia character in production, and yet there are 40k characters, like, I don't know, what are those Eldar Aspect Warriors? Let me think. Oh, let me go have a look. That's just the easy way. Shadow Spectres. That's the one. Shadow Spectres. So there must be thousands of people buying Shadow Spectres and Wraith Seers and that kind of thing, so they can stay in production. And a scatter laser turret for the Wave server. Corsair Jet Bike upgrade. These must be selling like hotcakes. Surely. Wasp Assault Stalker. I bet that sells just buku. I'm not saying they don't sell. Maybe someone out there is like, you know what? I'm the massive fan of the Wasp Assault Stalker. I've got like 80 of them. And fucking, yeah, good work to you, mate. But, Jesus, exceptions do not prove the rule, guys. Yeah. Fucking hell, Forge World. Whenever I think is on a good streak, you find a way of just making me shake my head. Not pissed, not angry, not anything like that. I know people often say, "Oh man, you're salty and triggered," but no, no, this is not salt or triggered or anything like that. This is just, wow, man, you guys done fucked up. Anyway, I'm back with the circle. Thanks to everyone who I bumped into at the event. It was fucking awesome. Great to see people. Handed out like tons of stickers. We went around the event tagging a bunch of things with our stickers too, especially Kat. There's heaps of Outer Circle stickers stuck on terrain around there because we know the TO and we wanted to shit him. And he took it all pretty gracefully because he knew us. I also went around sticking the little medallion I did up of a Titan on a Void Shield. On a Sky Shield landing pad with the Void Shield. Little medallion I made up. I went and stuck that on a bunch of different things around the event, especially on, well, Sky Shield landing pads. So keep an eye out for them. I'm sure they're out there. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next time.